Hi everybody, just a quick video, a few updates, a few projects that we'll be finishing up here shortly. We'll get back on our IC 745 and we'll go over the program board and do a few other little modifications to it. We'll get on our HP 410 vacuum tube voltmeter project and see can we get that back together and get it back on working condition so we can put that on the bench and be able to use it for future videos. Also our TS940, I have been working on this radio off and on trying to eliminate some problems, a few issues in it, so we'll be getting back on that shortly. But a whole lot of other projects in the works, and we'll be getting on some of them and talking about some of them, and so can we have a good old time. So let's take a look at a few of the things I got here on the bench that we'll be getting into in future videos. So I know some of you older folks has already spotted this and know exactly what it is, and those that don't, back in the 90s when I got into VHF real good and heavy, everybody wanted a repeater, and what this was a GE Master 2 VHF mobile 110 watt version, and this was stripped down and put into separate cabinets, and as you can see, voltage regulators, volume squelch, transmitter voltage regulator, the antenna port comes around, comes to the front of the transmitter. So this is the transmitter section, and this was your receiver section. Well, there was 3 boxes that was built when I first built this, and it housed the transmitter. One box housed the receiver, the other box housed a Cat 300 controller, and it also had auto patch. But this is one of the first repeaters I built back up in, I think somewhere around 97, 98, in that line. It was a great working repeater, and we really thoroughly enjoyed the build of this repeater. Later on, this repeater got stripped and the cases were used on other projects, but I saved the transmitter and the receiver. The Cat 300 finally went into a new repeater that we had ordered from McGorry Electronics, and it was the High Pro repeater. So this is what was left of that. I eventually want to rebuild this back in its original look, and I mean, not just to put back in service, which it may, you know, it may be good. Nowadays people just run out and buy new stuff. No one hardly builds repeaters anymore out of old radios. I will tell you, it's very educational to sit down and build something like this. You will learn a great deal with, even if you just want to get the experience. It's very easy. The Johnson PPL 6060s, the old Motorola Micors, very easy to convert into repeaters. This was another 2-meter repeater that I had picked up many years ago. It was built by someone else, and what this is a Hamtronics repeater. And we lift the cover, you can see inside the box there was just a transmitter board, and it comes out and goes through some feed through here on the point and goes right into the receiver. So here, looking at the receiver, we can see our speaker connection and our receive antenna. This is triple ID. If you trip this up, it will send the programmed call sign for the repeater. If you notice here, this is our receiver. This is the R76 receiver. Over here on this side is our core. And this is basically just our controller that controls the transmit. When it receives a signal, it will automatically, the core line comes over here, and this will engage it, comes out, turns the transmitter on, and it's adjustable timer. Here on this big front board, if you look up here, you see all these diodes, and that's how you program the ID. You just remove the diodes that you don't need and add the ones you do need, and when you trip it, it will send your call sign. So that's what this whole front board is for. Very good size. One thing you won't find, I think you can get a schematic. I think it was on Hamtronics website. This is a T51 transmitter, but I have yet to have seen any schematics or diagram on the R76, the core, and the old CWID. I did scan all the documentation I had on this, and I have uploaded it to my website. I even sent Skip an email because it sounded like someone was looking for one of this one time, so I sent him an email, and he's over at the Repeater Builder's website. So I sent him the email with the link to all this stuff. But like I said, this repeater was not built by me. It's I don't like the way the wiring. This repeater was very intermittent. It had receive issues. 1 minute received, the next minute it wouldn't receive nothing. You could throw the squelch, the core would hear it, key the transmitter, but it was basically deaf. So this repeater never did get put in service by me, and it got put on the shelf. I do want to go through this and redo it and just get it back running. Now this is a very interesting item. I bought this unit somewhere around 1990-91, and those of you that did not know that, everyone's heard of Regency, and Regency used to make a lot of scanners. Well, they also was in commercial two-way radio, and I think they later changed to RAM. Some of you might remember some small mobile radios, front pad. They also had some marine radios made like this. But anyway, those radios are very easy to program. You just open up the case and you could jump something. I can't remember just how you do it. I used to have a handheld program for some of them, but some of them you could program it by the front panel. This was is a UHF repeater, and I'll zoom in on the front of it down here. Okay, so I had to edit the video. The wife just come in with her honeydew list, and she goes first. But anyways, you can see Regency Microcom U10R UHF FM repeater, and mic connector, volume and power and transmit. And when I first got this repeater back in the day, there was a Phelps Dodge Duplexer mounted on the side of it, and it was one of the little small 1.25 inch by 1.25 inch cavity. I think it was 5 cavities. The original fault with this repeater was that it was hit by lightning, and the Duplexer took the brunt of the force. And I do have the transmitter working, but there's no power out, and the receiver is working, but the sensitivity is way down. So I have to look at both of those. It's just a quick shot of the inside. It's your receiver. The transmitter's on this side. This is your main core. And if you notice, you got all these unpopulated pins here. and then you have this auxiliary board here. And the way this works, it'll handle, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think 7 or 8 transmit and receive tones. So if you're the owner of this repeater and you rent out to different customers, you can put 8 different tone boards in here to separate everyone. And it uses a tone for receive and a tone board for transmit. I do have more of these old tone boards, which they're not going to be needed for this operation, because what I was planning to do was put this repeater on the ham bands on 440 megahertz, and it can be done. Shouldn't be too much trouble. The receiver has a lot of resonators in here, it's easily tuned, and the transmitter is very easily tuned also. It uses doesn't use a RF vital transistor. It has the amplifier pack. So for those that have never seen one, this is the Regency UHF repeater. And also Regency made a matching mobile radio. I have 5 or 6 of these in storage. And this is the Microcom U10 UHF FM transmitter. It is identical. Same transmit board, same receiver board. This one was used for parts, and I don't have no case, and there's a lot of stuff been taken out of it. But anyway, for those that haven't seen them, that's what it is. So those of you that do not know what a duplexer is, this is a duplexer. It is a Telewave TTPD-8644. I have about 3 of these, and this one was actually designed for 800 megahertz. I think it's 806 to 900 and some megahertz. But just a quick description of what a duplexer does for those that don't know. The repeater, you have a separate transmitter, separate receiver. Now to connect an antenna, you would run 2 separate coax cables, and you would isolate the antennas so far apart to keep the transmitter from desensing the receiver. You're still going to get some desense in this. You can get them extremely apart, but VHF, UHF, your coax cable is not cheap. It's going to cost you a little bit to run 2 coax that long, that far away, and then 2 antenna systems. What the duplexer does, that your antenna port will connect to the center, your transmitter will connect to this side, and your receiver will connect to this side. The receiver side passes the receive frequency, but it rejects the transmit frequency. The transmit side passes the transmit frequency, and it rejects the receiver frequency. So it takes the desense out of the receiver, and you can run 1 coax cable with 1 antenna, so your system shares 1 antenna. And that's basically just a short description of how a duplexer works. Something I've always been wanting to do was build a VHF duplexer from scratch. The can for the VHF duplexer will probably be about 6.5 inches in diameter, and probably about 28 inches tall. Now, you see you got an adjustment here, and also on your connector. Let me zoom in on this for you. You can see the 3 screws that are holding the connector. So you got this would be your notch, and you can actually loosen these up and turn these, and that changes the loop, so that would notch you would set this here to pass transmit. You would set this here by turning this to reject receive. So there's 2 adjustments on each can. And I like to find some 6-inch copper pipe and build a set for VHF. It's a project I've always wanted to do. It's not going to be an easy task. It's very critical. Another thing that on duplexers, the inside needs to be lined with silver, and this keeps the loss down. So anyway, that's just another project I like to throw out to you. Also in a future project is the Heathkit HW101. This is the HF transceiver, 10 through 80 meter. We'll be going through this and doing a complete restore on it. And this one, we're probably going to have to restore the front of it. I don't know if it'll clean up enough to do anything. Definitely got to paint the case. This was kept in a plastic grocery bag inside of a garage. So when I took it out, all the paint on the case just fell off of it. So we'll be getting to this in a future video and see if we can bring this old girl back to life. Up next is the National. This is the NCX-3. I picked this radio up, and the only thing I've done was brush the dust off of it, plugged it in, and been talking on it ever since. Well, a couple of weeks ago I turned it on and it had a very bad AC hum in the speaker. So something that I did that I've always tell everybody not to do: when you get an old rig like this, go ahead and start replacing capacitors. I did not do that in this rig. I just plugged it in and started using it, and it worked for quite a while without doing anything to it. Now it's got a hum. Also, I noticed that the receiver has dropped more than half. I mean, it's very deaf now. Also, to tune this rig, you got to use the meter, and the meter has quit. And I'm thinking that a tube in the receiver is causing the issue with the meter. So we'll be tearing this apart. I'm gonna go ahead and get some caps ordered. It's 2 80 microfarad 450 volt caps got to be replaced. There's several 40 microfarads that's got to be replaced. And it's a good old sideband rig. It's very stable. Doesn't drift quite as bad as the old Swans did, but it's a nice old rig. Another project coming up, Heathkit DX20 CW transmitter. I've got to locate some crystals so I can start the restoration on this one. If you ain't never seen this, got a big hole in the side of the socket right here that you plug your crystal in. Then you select whatever band you're going to use and put your own frequency. Should be a fun restoration. This radio is extremely clean on the inside, looks real bad on the outside. So we want to get this back original. And another project, Siltronix 1011C. This radio is in extremely good shape. It's been well taken care of. The case needs some painting. It's got some stuff on it where somebody has set something on it. But it is a great working radio. I have 3 others of these and all of them work, but it looks no ways as good as this one. But we know that when Swan built this, they had changed the name out the back door to Siltronix, and this was focused mainly around the CB crowd. But what I like to do to this is remove the whole VFO section, pull everything out, install a DDS VFO in it with a big old nice LCD display and a weighted encoder, and set it so it'll cover 28 megahertz right on up to the end of 10 meters. And right now it only goes from 28.5 to 29 something. I can't remember just how far it goes, But it is a project I want to do later on, and great 10-meter rig. And if you know what you're doing, and quite a bit of mods out for AM, so this is actually could be used on 10-meter AM. Another item someone brought me was this big, very heavy UPS backup supply. I'm thinking this is the model 750. There is no name on this. The front panel has been removed, but I've already opened it up and the main board is not working. That was due to, I think, something in the batteries. There's two big large batteries in here that are swollen, so something has caused it. What I'm interested in, I'm going to do a teardown video on this later on, but we'll end up using this case for another project. I've even considered using this case to rebuild the GE Master 2 repeater back in. Plenty of space in it. Just have to put some divider walls in, and there would be plenty of room in the back for the 110 watt PA unit to sit. So I don't know, we'll take a look at it and see. Too nice of a case just to throw out. Not interested in the UPS function. I don't really need one of these. Was this big. It probably was used in an office complex or something. But anyway, that'll conclude this video. As you can see, a lot of future projects coming up. A lot of other projects around here haven't even looked at starting on yet. I noticed I got quite a few thank you cards to send out. So a big thank you to all you guys that have sent in stuff. You know who you are, and I really appreciate it. And checked this morning, up to 899 subscribers. It's really gone crazy. Thank all y'all for all the support, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one now.